you may be wondering why I'm naked, and I thought I would just like, you know, get it off my chest. I am actually not naked. I am wearing a tube top, and it may seem like I may look naked. That's why I am filming this video from far away, so nobody thinks that I'm doing it in the buff. Now we got that unnecessary information out of the way. Let's get into this video. So today I'm going to be filming a wrap-up in TBR for the months of May and June. In May, I only read one book because I had lots of things to do in May. Like finish editing the second novel in the Andromeda Saga, traveling to Iceland, going to BookCon, having Hannah stay over for a week. There's a lot of stuff that was going on, so that's why I only read one book. That one book that I did read was phenomenal, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. And then for my TBR, I do have a confession, and it is a confession that I feel like needs to be said, and it's more like a statement because not enough people say this, and I feel like it's a really important thing to say, so I'm gonna say it and let you guys know my thoughts about it. But before we get to that, let me tell you guys the book I did read last month. Let's get into it. So for the Book Book Club, we read The Burning Maze by Rick Riordan, the third book in the Trials of Apollo series. We partnered with Disney Book Group to bring you guys this wonderful novel to the club, and we had a heck of a time reading it, and at the end of this book, holy moly, I was shocked and scarred and just, there's a lot of feelings, guys, a lot of feelings. And if you want to see my spoilery thoughts on this book, I have a live show up right now on my channel, and if you do not want to see my spoilery thoughts, but do want to know my opinions on this book in more of a detailed format, then go check out my spoiler-free review, also up on my channel right now. But if you do not know what the series is all about, it's pretty much about the sun god Apollo getting banished from Olympus by Zeus, his father, because he did something wrong, and he gets banished into the body of a 16-year-old mortal named Lester. Then he has to go on a series of multiple quests in order to regain his godly status. It's such a great series, I highly recommend anybody read it. 4.5 out of 5 stars for this third amazing book in this phenomenal series. Now that being said, let's get into my TBR, which is super exciting. I have so many great, wicked awesome books in this pile, so really excited to get to those. But before that, let me get this off my chest. So yesterday, I tweeted out, the book I'm reading right now is good, and I enjoy it, but I am not in love with it like everybody else is. But that is fine. It's totally okay not to love a book that everybody else does. Embrace it. And a couple of you guys are wondering, what book are you talking about, Sasha? You're being cryptic. Tell us. And I was like, I'll tell you, but in a video, because I have a lot to say about it, and I'll tell you guys what book this is in a little bit, and it's technically part of my TBR, even though I already read it. It'll be seen again in my wrap-up at the end of the month. So, what I mean by this is that the book I read recently, everybody adores. All my friends love it, the internet loves it, and I thought I would love it as well. Not because everybody else adores it, but because it seemed right up my alley. It's an adult romance novel that centers around a hate-to-love relationship. Honestly, I love that trope so freaking much. I love me some good tropes. And it wasn't that this book was bad or poorly written or the storyline was not flavorful enough for me. It just didn't meet its mark for me. I don't know necessarily what it was about this novel, but it just did not resonate with me amazingly. It just was okay to me, this book. And that's not because the author's a bad writer. No, she's a very good writer. I just didn't feel like this book was really my book, you know? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, yes, favorite book ever, or yay, I love this book, great read. It just was like okay to me. But that does not mean anything against the author or this book. I think that this book is really great for other people. It just wasn't to my speed, and that is completely fine. I think a lot of the time when we read books that are very hyped or that a lot of people love, we feel almost like this obligation to love it as well. And it may be internalized, you may not really notice yourself doing it, but when you finish the book and it kind of is lackluster to you, you kind of feel like the odd one out because you're like, wait, but I didn't love it. Am I alone in this venture? Who knows? And it's almost like you're scared to speak out and say that you didn't love it as much as everybody else has. And it's the same case for books that everybody dislikes or a lot of people dislike, but you actually enjoy it. You kind of feel that same kind of like enclosure around you, being like, do I say something? Do I not? Do I keep it held within? And I feel like it's my duty as a reviewer and as a book blogger to let you guys know what book it is, but it's not that the book is a bad book. I think that a lot of people would love it because a lot of people have loved it. It just wasn't the book for me, and that's completely fine. I will read this author's other books because I do think she's a great writer. It just didn't hit its mark for me, and that's fine. Guys, you need to understand that just because you didn't love a book that everybody else loves does not make you in the wrong. You're a different person than everybody else. It's completely normal and it's fine, and that's the message I want to get across to you. So what is this mystery book, you may be wondering? Well, it is called The Hayden Game by Sally Thorne. It's about a hate-to-love office romance in a publishing house, and it was a fun storyline. I just didn't love it. I think it was just kind of lackluster to me. I expected a little bit more from this book, and when I finished it, I just didn't feel like it hit all the marks that I thought it would. But that's fine. That's just my opinion. I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. It was an enjoyable read, and I do recommend it to people who kind of like this type of office hate-to-love romance, but it just wasn't the right book for me, and that's fine. Let me know down below what are some books that you personally didn't love that everybody else around you loved, because I would love to know down below, because it's a safe place, guys, and you're allowed to not like books that everybody else loves. It's totally fine, and if people come at you, then they need to learn about free speech. I accidentally damaged this book. I put it in my handbag with a takeout container that had my leftover burger in it, and the burger juice kind of leaked out and onto the book, so this book smelled like beef for a few days. That was fun. Okay, so the next book I plan on reading is a book that I really hope I love as much as I love the previous 2 books in this series. Past 2 years, this author's books have been my #1 favorite read of the year because she is just such a great writer and the storylines are just so great in her novels. And what is this book, you may ask? Well, let me share with you. It is Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco, a part of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. And I love this book series so much. The characters are so wonderful. Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell, they are partners in crime, but they don't do crime. They actually uncover it and find the murderer. The first book revolved around Jack the Ripper. The second book revolved around Dracula. And this third one revolves around Houdini. But I'm very excited to jump into this novel. Let's see what I think about it at the end of the month in my wrap-up. Cheers. So the next book I've been seeing a lot of fan art for, and I think that it was a fan art that really made me want to read it. And I just hope that I love the book as much as I love the fan art, but I think I might. I think I will. And after reading Hayden Game, I am just in a really big mood for something that is the opposite of that book, which is not a contemporary romance. I'm in the mood for some action with romance in it. A lot of action, fantasy, historical, mystery, that type of stuff. That is my jazz right now. And so the next book that I plan on reading, that I hope I enjoy, because my roommate said that I might like it or I might not like it. Not because the storyline's bad, just the writing style is very different. But I'm up for a good challenge, guys. I love to challenge my reading taste. And that is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This book revolves around a orphan girl named Maya, and her father had a failed rebellion and she barely escapes with her life. And as she's running away from her father's enemies, she ends up at the front door of a murderer, and then she joins a league of assassins. And this is a high fantasy novel, and I am really excited to jump into it and see what I think about it. I hear that it's really great, so let's see. I hope I love it because it sounds very good, and the fan art, guys, is just so good. Like, I highly recommend you to follow the author Jay Kristoff on Instagram. He does like fan art Fridays, and whenever I see the fan art, it just makes me want to read this book even more. He has some very talented readers. Next is a book I want to read for a 24-hour readathon. I'm planning on doing lots of reading vlogs and readathon vlogs in the next couple of months because you guys seem to love them and I love doing them. I love reading with you guys. I think that's a really fun thing because reading's a very solitary act, and it's nice to kind of bring people into it and make it a little bit less solitary. And so the next book I plan on reading for a 24-hour readathon is City of Ghosts by V.E. Schwab. Oh, wait, she goes by Victoria Schwab on these books. So Victoria Schwab. This middle grade takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland. And it's about this girl and her family moving there to go and hunt ghosts on their new reality show. And I am just so excited to read this book that's full of ghost stories and hauntings and Scotland. I'm just super pumped and I cannot wait to read it. It's not very long, that's why I want to actually read it for a 24-hour readathon. And fun fact, I love Victoria Schwab as a person, but I've actually never read any of her books before. So I'm excited to dive on in. Then finally, I'll be mentioning some of these books in a writing vlog because I plan on doing more writing vlogs very soon because I am currently working on my solo project, which is called Project Red. I mention it a lot on Instagram and Twitter, not so much on this channel, so I thought I would do a little plug for it. But I want to bring you guys along on the process of writing this book. And so one of the books, research books, that I'm reading for it is The Lore of Scotland, A Guide to Scottish Legends. And I've been reading this book a lot, so I plan on reading a couple more pages and chapters of this book for research for Project Red because it's so chock full of amazingness. So I wanted to mention it in this video because it's another book that I am reading consistently always, and maybe one day I'll finish it because it's a great resource for Scottish legends. It's phenomenal. One day I will let you guys know more about Project Red, but until that day, I'm just gonna be teasing the heck out of you guys. But I painted a picture of my characters from Project Red, so that's them. That's the main male character and that's the main female character. You guys don't know their names yet, but you'll be meeting them very soon, hopefully. Here's another picture. Okay guys, so we've come to the end of my wrap-up in TBR. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for lots of amazing videos and fun videos coming your way very soon. I am in the video filming mode. I cannot wait to be more present on YouTube now that a lot of the craziness of the past few months has now died down. Let's get back into the swing of things and get into some good old books. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!